What's up, beautiful people? This is Christian from the Successful Spiritual podcast, and today I'm super excited because we have a very special guest here on the show. Her name is Avital Kushilevich, and Avital is a passionate advocate for holistic health and wellness, specializing in sacred plant medicines like cannabis and mushrooms. They are founder of an event platform that transforms transformative experiences through plant medicine, offering retreats, workshops, and products for intentional living. With a background in holistic health practices, Avital helps people get to the root cause of their symptoms, assisting in healing trauma, limiting beliefs, diet, lifestyle, changing habits, mindsets, and helping people create the life they truly desire. Her mission is to help millions of people heal on the deepest level with plant medicines such as mushrooms, kambo, bufo, and empowering others to reconnect with themselves and the natural world, fostering a sense of balance, joy, and harmony in your life. Avital aims to achieve this by creating events and retreats all over the world, providing education and curating spaces for healing experiences that transcend conventional boundaries. Welcome to the show, Avital.
Thank you, Christian.
Hey, so excited to have you on. And part of this podcast, which, the Successful Spiritual podcast, what I really love about this podcast is that you just hang out with amazing, conscious people all the time. And tell us a little bit about your background. How do you get into this world? I mean, plant medicine itself is just such a gem, and it attracts a certain type of, avatar, I would say, that has gone through certain levels. And as soon as you decide to work with plant medicine also on a professional level, I feel it takes something. So explain a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so about 4 years ago, when the whole world shut down, everything just shifted for me. I finally got a chance to slow down, as it's many people's stories, right? So I got a chance to slow down, really reflect on all the areas of my life, and realize that I really wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with the work I was doing. I wasn't happy in my relationship. I wasn't happy where I was living. I was living in Long Island, New York at that time, currently in Houston, Texas. And I just was feeling so much stress and anxiety. And, I was asking the universe, I was like, give me a sign. What do I do? I don't want to do this anymore. And through a meaningful coincidence, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition started popping up on my social media, Google searches. And I'm like, what is this? And looked into it and was like, yep, this is it. This is exactly what I want to do. For many years previous to that, I have been self-educating myself on holistic health. I dealt with a lot of physical illness as a child and went through the Western medicine system, tried the conventional approaches, tried all the medications under the roof, had multiple surgeries. And this was with a diagnosis of Crohn's disease. It's an autoimmune disorder. And it was just, nothing was working. I just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then 2016 came around, and that's when things really shifted for me and brought me to this holistic healing journey. So over those years, I've been just self-educating. And then in 2020, went back to school, studied holistic health, went deeper on my own journey, and then made it into a career. I left corporate America, went all in my business, and I was able to help hundreds of people all over the world in their healing journey. And then probably about the same time, just shortly after that, I had connected to a plant medicine woman. Really interesting story, actually. Some random woman messaged me on Facebook and was like, I'm your 6th generation cousin. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? And she said she found me on 23andMe. And so I went to go look, and we're related by 6 generations. So she was living in New Jersey. I was in Long Island, New York, and we had connected, and she introduced me to mushrooms. And I had my first real ceremony with her. I've probably tried mushrooms like once or twice when I was younger, but it was very like on a microdose level. Nothing like the work that I've done with this medicine over the past couple of years. And so I had a couple sessions with her, and then I started working with this medicine myself, and it's just been a complete game changer in my healing journey. So it's helped me really heal at the deepest level, heal the trauma, heal the limiting beliefs, change my habits, change my mindset. Like, I'm a completely different person than I was 4 years ago, than I was 10 years ago. And finally was able to just process a lot of things that I wasn't processing as a child. I grew up in a family where feeling your emotions was not allowed. I was taught that if I cry, I would get in trouble and I would get something to cry about, So I didn't have a healthy way of processing these emotions. And what I've learned in my own journey and just education is that your physical symptoms are a manifestation of a spiritual root cause. And that was a huge factor in helping me heal on a physical level, healing this state of dis-ease through healing the trauma and limiting beliefs and mindsets and habits and all that fun stuff. So I saw how powerful this medicine was, and I wanted to share it with the world. And, through receiving messages from God, universe, source, it has led me down this path of creating events and retreats so that we can bring people together and facilitate those spaces for deep healing.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's just fascinating how, so many people are getting into this field of healing, and have such reverence and respect for people who make this their profession, because it's something I feel that is deeply needed. And it's beautiful that you bring and channel this here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, I've experienced how powerful this medicine is, and I truly believe most people can really, it's going to be a game changer, and people are seeing this. We're at this forefront of a revolution, right? I mean, this feels like we're back in the 60s, and that's when this medicine was made illegal by the government. And it was made illegal not because it's bad, but because they didn't want us to have access to this higher state of consciousness, right? Because an aware and awake human is harder to control. And so that's why they did this whole war on drugs, right? As a way to put fear in people. And, it's beautiful to see that we're back there again, but now people are aware of how beautiful this medicine is, how healing and powerful it is, and it's getting into the hands of people that really need it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, because, I grew up in Germany, born and raised. I've only been here in the States now for 6-7 years. And over there, the entire perception on plant medicine is very, closed down. I would say, of course, there's people that are open to it, right? But the general public is very closed down into any substances. It's very, I don't know the English word, but German word is verpönt. It's not seen as good to talk about it. And just you just feel like this sticky, icky energy that has been created energetically in other countries as well. And so it's really cool that that's being brought up again for us to being able to look at and see, to really, what's wrong with mushrooms? What is this stuff? You know what I mean? Is it really that bad? It's nature. You know what I mean? How can it be worse than a pill? You know what I mean? I mean, not that we want to, exercise judgment about, chemical stuff works, nature stuff works in different ways, right? Everything has its place, but yeah, you can feel how there was culturally really set up a way for us not to look into this path. And there's actually this really cool, I'm I don't know if you've ever seen this map, like the Deep State Mapping Project. Have you ever heard of that?
Maps. I've heard of maps.
Deep State Mapping Project. Wait, let me screen share. Maybe, people here. So it's this site here, deepstatemappingproject.com. And it's just like this, I don't know, indie project that somebody put up and created like really cool resources for us to, look into, like, conspiracy stuff and yada yada. If you want to go into that, that's fine and cool. But one thing I always come back to is like this thing called the Healing Web. And it's literally a PDF version of all the diseases that we have in our current day and age. And on the left side is how big pharma solves it, and on the right side is how holistic medicine solves it.
I love that.
And so this, for me, has been a resource that is just priceless, because it explains to people just the difference between, like, oh yeah, here's what you believe in and here's what I believe in, right? Both things work. It's just like, yeah, there's pros and cons to both, right? Chemical stuff works very fast, but has certain, side effects. And then natural things tend to work slower. And yeah, I mean, of course, if you overdose anything, it has a side effect, right? So always keep in balance and align with your own values and beliefs and what you feel you need. But this PDF, this graph, I'm gonna link it in the show notes. It has always been with me, and it's been such a great resource of so many things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll share it with you too. So let's get back to the spiritual entrepreneur. Like, how do you define a spiritual entrepreneur, and what made you become one?
Yeah. So for me, a spiritual entrepreneur is someone that is of service, that has a purpose behind the work that they're doing, right? They're not just going to a job, working typical Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, just for that paycheck, right? They're out there, they're on a mission, they're here to serve people, to help people in some way. And it's coming from a deep rooted place of purpose, right? That's what I believe a spiritual entrepreneur is. And just entrepreneurship in itself is a spiritual journey, like I have been through it. Like it really makes you face parts of yourself that you've never faced before. Just like for me, for example, when I started utilizing social media for my business, showing up on camera, or just showing up in general, was really challenging for me, because my childhood trauma is this fear of being seen, heard, and loved. And not so much of a fear, but I mean, I guess, yeah, somewhat of a fear, but a challenge to be heard, seen, and loved. And so that's been a big part of my own healing journey on the spiritual level through entrepreneurship. So it's been very, very interesting. And yeah, entrepreneurship is spiritual in itself.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for walking that path. And about you as an entrepreneur, what products or services do you offer currently, and why?
Yeah. So I create events and retreats in the plant medicine space. I'm currently building a platform, a website that will provide the information of these events and retreats, both my events as well as other practitioners' events. Going back to my purpose and my mission, a few years ago, I had received a message from God, universe, source, that my mission is to help millions of people heal all over the world. And the way to do that literally was events and retreats. And that's when I started putting on these events and retreats. And my background is in marketing and creating and organizing events. I actually have always loved throwing parties and events as a teenager in my 20s, and I was just doing that for fun, like for my birthday, right? But now I've been able to create a business from it, taking my skills, what I'm really good at, and combining it with my passion, my purpose, which is plant medicine, and helping people heal on a holistic level, and bring those two together. And here we are. And that's one piece of it. And then I do offer consultations, working one-on-one with clients, and currently going through a restructure with that, but I'll be sharing that over the next couple of weeks. But just really helping people, again, heal on the holistic level. So, looking not just at the food that's on your plate, but everything else that impacts your life, right? Because the work that you're doing, the lifestyle that you have, your social circle, all of that is going to impact your health on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level. And then microdose guidance, that's like part of that medicine, right? It's helped me so much with like anxiety, depression, and it's helped so many other people, my clients. It's such a beautiful medicine. And so I created this unique blend to help people in that area as well. And then another piece is I offer root cause analysis. So root cause analysis, basically what that does is it tests the energy that emanates from a sample of your hair and or saliva, and it provides a deep analysis of what's going on physically. So it looks at all of your organs. It looks at any imbalances when it comes to your nutrition, your vitamins, your hormones, any underlying infections, bacteria, parasites. And then I would provide recommendations on how to get your body back on track and back into a state of balance.
Wow, amazing. And that's done in the lab, correct?
The test, yes, it goes off to a lab.
Amazing. So if somebody's interested in working with you, or just in general about the topic, like what if it, like, why, how does this work? Why does it work? Like, why plant medicine? I mean, there's so many modalities. Like, why, how does it even work? Like what have you drawn out of plant medicine? Like, is it certain realizations, or just like, and that's why you've changed your way of life, your behavior, or your health and diet? I mean, how does this stuff work?
Yeah. So plant medicine, specifically, I'm going to speak on mushrooms because that's my background. That's my experience. So with these types of plant medicines and many other psychedelics, it really just helps you face your issues head on. I had a client that said after her macro experience with mushrooms, she said that it was like 10 years of therapy in one session. Like, that's how powerful it is. It helps bring up things from childhood and limiting beliefs. It just helps you really address those issues and giving you that space, that time to address those issues. And that's the beautiful piece about it. I think that we're so busy in this hustle culture, right? And we're just conditioned to not really take the time to process our emotions, to heal, to work through the things that we need to get clarity, to get insights, even through meditation, right? That's another way to connect to God's source energy. Plant medicine, for me especially, I feel like it just gives me that time and space. It's like, here's 6 to 8 hours that I get to sit and deal with my shit, we, again, just going back to how we're just conditioned to not really slow down and take time to process these things. And that was definitely me. I was stuck in this heavy masculine energy because that's how I was raised. I was raised to work hard, work long hours. I was also the breadwinner and provider in my previous relationship. And so I was just so stressed and focused on just making money and hustling and, the corporate America thing, climbing the ladder, and not really slowing down to feel what I need to feel. And that manifested, that lack of healing manifested in very unhealthy ways, such as eating food that's not healthy for me, not exercising, not taking care of myself, because I was more worried about making money instead of taking care of me. And so this has really just allowed me to slow down, process, as well as childhood stuff. You know, I blacked out a lot of stuff from childhood because I wasn't allowed to feel my feelings in a healthy way. My parents, both parents are from Russia. So like that Soviet Union, like cold, no emotions, you know, that's what I was raised with. And it caught up with me, you know, and manifested again in those unhealthy habits. It manifested in anger. I had a lot of anger. Anger is a superficial emotion. There's always something underneath that. And I had to slow down to address that. And now I'm just like super calm, peaceful, chill. I'm very, very aware of all my emotions, so connected to my body. And, you know, another piece on that, I had such a disconnection from myself, from my body, because of the physical illness that I dealt with at that time. Just complete disconnection, not understanding what my body needs. And this medicine just helps bring awareness and helps you connect back to yourself. It's such a beautiful medicine.
Wow, beautiful. And so I also had a couple of experiences with mushrooms. They were all wonderful, but I've never really gone into like a mushroom ceremony saying I want to heal this or that. I was always very open to like whatever is supposed to show up will show up, right?
Yes.
But when you say, like, it sounds like you do it very like purposefully to address your or certain issues head on, as you said. So I guess the question is, how often do you do it to face something, or do you also do it sometimes to just like, yeah, relax? You know, I don't need to face anything today, or like, you know what I mean? Because obviously you want to maintain a certain respect with the medicine. Like, we don't also want to be like, hey, let's party with mushrooms. Yeah, you can do that a couple of times, or you know, often. However, it feels good. I mean, I think there's no judgment on it. But I think it's important to approach these substances always with respect. And so, how do you weigh your balance between that? Okay, I want to face something versus I just want to be, you know?
Yeah. Intention is so important. You know, I've mostly worked with this medicine in a very healing aspect. And I do like to set an intention and have an idea of the areas that I want to work on. But this medicine is very, very intuitive, and it will give you what you need, not what you want. You know, for example, the last ceremony I had for myself, it was back in November, and I had some specific topics I wanted to address, but none of that was addressed. It was actually more of like a fun, playful experience, which was very new to me, with sitting with mushrooms. But it was exactly what I needed, because I was feeling a little burnt out, just not enough playtime. And that was 6 hours that I just got to, I was laughing. I took a shower. I literally was laughing at my own self, at jokes I was saying for like an hour. I ran around naked in my apartment, like, you know, just like letting my inner child come out and play. And it was exactly what I needed. I felt so much better, just felt like recharged and rejuvenated from it, versus other experiences where I'm like, seeing some trauma that I went through from childhood, or seeing the future of like what's going to happen with the world. You know, some of them aren't as pleasurable, but that's all part of it. Like, that's all part of the journey. And what I've noticed is there's like different levels, like different layers of accessing this higher state of consciousness. It's like the first layer is work on your deep stuff, like your trauma, your limiting beliefs, your self-love. And then you go on to like seeing the future or seeing the past. Or I've even had experiences where I was processing emotions for other people. I processed emotions for my mother, for my father. So that was an interesting experience. And then sometimes they're more playful and joyful. So yeah, this medicine will give you what you need, not what you want, but always good to have an intention and be just open and curious for the experience, whatever it is, knowing that there's a reason for this, and it's going to, it's medicine, it's going to serve its purpose in some way. And as far as like how often, so for a while I was doing it like every 2 months for myself, because I was just going through a lot and I needed time to process those emotions, processing grief and loss and those kinds of things. And I haven't done a ceremony for myself since November. I'm actually planning one in 2 weeks from now. So for me, that intention is to clear out any energetic blocks, process any emotions, whatever needs to be processed, and get clarity on next steps, receive any divine messages that needs to be received.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. The plants always have their own intelligence they bring to the table too, and give you what you need sometimes, not just what you think you want. So that's really beautiful that we can rely on that as well. So yeah, let's switch a little bit, a bit back to some of the questions here for the podcast. So let's talk about your, you like one really distinct life lesson. Like, what's a significant life lesson that you've learned and that still applies today in your business?
Follow your intuition. Trust your intuition. There's many times in my past where I had that gut feeling and I knew what I should be doing, but I went against it because I was listening to someone else or conditioning. And every time that I went against it, things didn't work out. But when you're so connected to your intuition, which in turn you're connected to God, to source, to the universe, you're going to receive these messages. Like, the universe is always dropping hints and signs of where your path needs to go. And if you just quiet down and pay attention and connect, you'll be able to see these messages and signs and know that you're on the right track. So that's the biggest lesson that I've learned.
Beautiful. And in your current website or branding journey, was you creating a website or kind of creating a brand or rebranding? Was that linked to any personal or business milestones where you said, okay, yeah, I'm ready for this, and because of this happened, something like that? That's always like an interesting question for me to find out whether there's a link there somehow.
Well, my journey with my brand has been all over. It's been a roller coaster over the past couple of years. I have just changed and pivoted so many times, but that's part of the process. You try different things, and if it doesn't feel good, you try something else until you get it right, until you get to that point where you're like, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. And so, and also just my evolution of self. I've evolved so much over the past couple of years, and as I evolve on my own personal level, my brand evolves as well. It's funny, today I had a message from someone that said that they were following me from my previous Instagram page. So I had a different page. It was called Thrive with Avital. It's actually on private now. I don't use it at all, but that was the page that I used for my holistic health coaching. I talked a lot about gut health, autoimmune, IBD, that kind of stuff. And 2 years ago, that all shifted, and I started this new Instagram page called Mushroom Muse. And one of the biggest reasons that I shifted is because I didn't feel a connection with that version of me anymore. That version that identified as someone who had Crohn's or autoimmune. Because what I've learned on my journey is when you identify with something like that, with a state of disease, it keeps you stuck in that state of disease. When you take ownership, oh, I'm a Crohn's warrior, I'm an autoimmune warrior, that's the hashtags I would use, And so energetically, I was just still stuck in that mindset of, I'm going to have this disease for the rest of my life. But then once I started working with plant medicine, I started healing, and now I'm in this place where, I'm still in my healing stage. We're continuously healing, but gosh, if you could see me like a side-by-side picture of me from a couple years ago, I'm completely different. Like I am healthy now. I am in a state of health and wellness. And that was like the big pivot from changing my brand.
Wow, beautiful. That's amazing. Yeah, I love how, everything obviously, it comes from the inside, radiates, towards, or radiates on the outside. So when we go on that immense healing journey, also our outside, our physical appearance changes oftentimes. So, so what would you say is like, your secret to staying in alignment? Like, is there any tools that you use that help other than plant medicine? How do you stay in alignment?
Yeah, just really taking care of myself. I haven't always been the best at that. And I've gotten to a point where I love myself so much and just taking care of myself. And when you take care of your mind, body, and soul, and you're in alignment, you're following the beliefs and values that you have for yourself and showing up as that version of you, as that version that you want to be, like already, exist as that version. So for example, just nourishing my body with healthy foods. Yoga has become a big part of my practice. I've just fallen in love with yoga over the past couple months. And actually, I will be, this morning I decided I'm going back to school to become a yoga instructor. So adding that to my repertoire. So super excited about that. Movement has been so healing. Spending time in nature, spending time with my friends and family, that has been a big part of helping me stay in alignment. Just community is so important. And that's why I started creating these events and retreats, because I was craving community. And when I started putting on these events, I saw how healing it was for everybody just to be with like-minded people, to be doing something that is just helping to connect with yourself, with other people that are on the same path as you. And community support system has been such a tremendous part of helping me stay in alignment.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about your legacy. What are 3 words that you want people to know you for after you leave this physical plane?
3 words. Rebel. I'm a rebel. I would like people to know me as that. What else? Leader. Trailblazer. Yeah, I don't know. Those are 3 that I can, continue going on. Courageous. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. And currently on your path, what inspires you most in your spiritual and entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, so 2 people come to mind. 2 of my amazing mentors that I've been working with for the past couple of years. One of them is my plant medicine woman and good friend now. Her name's Ariella. She's the one that lives out in New Jersey. She's just been such a huge support in my healing journey, in my spiritual healing journey. We're sisters, we're related, and she just helped me come to my purpose, help me do the healing, help me feel like generational trauma, just really learning about all that stuff, as well as helping to heal the feminine energy. And then my other mentor, Michelle, so she actually has a very similar experience as me when it comes to being diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, and then creating, wanting to help other people, and then shifting to helping women with self-expression, helping them just connect with themselves, inner child healing. So those two women come to mind. Also another woman. It's been a lot of women that have been helpful in my journey. Of course, I have my male mentors as well, but a big piece of my healing is healing the feminine. So it was so important for me to work with women over the past couple of years to help with that. A therapist I worked with in Long Island, New York, she was just amazing, like one of the best therapists I've ever had. She actually is the one that suggested that I work with plant medicine. She was able to see that I had these psychic abilities, and she provided resources for me to help me tap into that. She helped me be able to process emotions in a healthy way and to have capacity for holding those emotions. So yeah, each person I've worked with has been so crucial in my healing journey, and I'm so immensely grateful for these amazing people in my life. And there's many more, of course, but those are the, I guess, top three that come to mind right now.
I love it. What's your vision for the new Earth?
Yeah, so my vision is that we live in a state of love and lights. And of course, you know, we have our shadows, our shadow work that we need to do, but really just going back to living the way that Mother Nature intended us to live, you know, living off of the land and using those resources, you know, living in more of a community style of way. We're so just in this individualistic way of living, and it's made us so disconnected from ourselves and with other people. And I believe is a big contributor to this epidemic of mental disorders, you know, dealing with so much anxiety and depression, because we're feeling so alone, you know. And so I definitely see that we're going to go back to just living in a more community type space, living off of the land, using plant medicine to heal. You know, this medicine has been used for thousands and thousands of years, you know, going back to the Aztecs, ancient Mayans, right? But again, people came in, they saw how powerful this medicine was. Like, they literally used it as a way to connect to God and receive messages and be able to, you know, build these pyramids, right? And people saw how powerful it was, so they killed them off, took the medicine away. But thankfully, it's coming back to this existence. But yeah, I think that would be my vision of a new Earth.
That's a beautiful vision, you know. And I think now, you know, with the age of Aquarius coming or being here, you know, more and more people are going to vision like that. So that means it's happening. Yeah. So we're nearing the ends of our episode here, and I just want to give this last part over to the guests of our episode always, and ask them, what are your future goals? Like, what are you looking to call in as an entrepreneur, as a person, and yeah, what are you envisioning for yourself?
I envision that, you know, I show up every day in a place of service and reminding myself every day that this is my purpose. You know, my purpose is to help spread the word, help share this medicine and facilitate healing. And I do believe that I'm going to be able to help millions of people in their healing journey. So that is my purpose, my mission, my big goal. And however that happens, that'll happen. I do believe the universe already has a path for me, and I'm just along for the ride. And yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's wonderful. You know, I love how feminine and how relaxed you are, and how confident you are in that. You know, there's no neediness in there, which is wonderful. So yeah. Well, that will just make things like come to you faster because you're able to receive quicker, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So what are the last words you want to leave the audience with and where can people find you?
Yeah. So the last message I'll leave with you guys is find something that you're really passionate about, that has a purpose, and make that as the work that you do. I do believe that the work that we do makes a huge impact on our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And if you can find something that you're really passionate about and has a purpose, you can make money doing it. There's so many ways to make money. You know, money is not a scarce resource. It's so much abundance of it. I mean, it's a literal energetic exchange, right? So if you're showing up from a place of purpose and alignment, and you're just here to serve people and help people, like, the money will come. So that's what I would say is my last message here. And you guys can find me on Instagram at Mushroom Muse, Muse M-U-Z-E with a Z. I'm currently building out my platform for my event and retreat site, so that will be coming soon. And for now, you can find me on Instagram at Mushroom Muse with a Z.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being on the show. It was really, really nice to have you on.
Thank you, Christian.